Welcome everyone to episode 13 of the Knit State of Mind podcast. We're recording on a sunny afternoon. It's Monday, July 6th, and I'm Wanda. You can find me on Ravelry as wattywat and on Instagram as Zest in Class.
And I'm Heather, and I'm on Ravelry as heathertee and Instagram as heathertee3, and we are also Knit State of Mind on Instagram.
So welcome everyone, all of our new followers. I think we got a few messages about people across the globe. So welcome. And to those who have been sticking with us from the beginning, welcome back. This is a place where we share what's kind of been going on with us, our knits or cross stitching, crochet, all sorts of fun crafts with you all.
Yeah, and we're excited to be back. It's only been 3 weeks since our last episode, so feeling good about being on schedule. And we have lots of finished objects and other good stuff to share with you today.
Wonderful. So do we want to dive in, or what's been going on with you? It's been a little while.
Not too much. I mean, I've been on vacation, so that's why I've got quite a few FOs, because I've just been churning through, clearing the needles. Yeah, you know, just hanging out, doing some organizing. I cleaned out I have a giant closet in my apartment that has all my craft stuff, and I cleaned that out actually on 4th of July. So that was very exciting. But what have you been up to?
And I couldn't remember, was that last week, your last week of vacation, or are you still on vacation this week?
I'm still on vacation this week. I have one more week.
Okay, wonderful. Because when you said you could podcast today, I was like, she must still be on vacation.
Yeah.
So similarly, you know, I've been trying to draw a hard line in terms of some things regarding work. And so I have off for the next 3 weeks before I have to teach my next class. And right now, it's kind of a balance between resting and truly doing that, not checking email, relaxing and such, and then just kind of the overwhelm of things that I'm still responsible for. So I'm working with teachers actively during the summer. I have a lot of pressure to research and publish and make presentations. And the upside of it is that it's all stuff that I'm passionate about. And, you know, it just relates to my lifetime work as an educator who's been committed to anti-racist, ethnic studies, curriculum, pedagogy, all of that stuff. So, you know, some people say there isn't balance, but I'm striving for that.
Right. Yeah.
Got to rest up in order to continue doing the work ahead. So that's where I've been. There's been some knitting, not as much as usual. Been trying to read a little bit more and write a little bit more, and do those things as the spirit moves me, though, including knitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit more cross-stitching than usual too, and some reading, not actually as much as I normally do in the summer. Honestly, I think my eyes are tired of doing things from so much screen time when I was working that now I'm like, you know, I haven't even been watching as much TV as I sometimes do. I've just been like listening to audiobooks or music. So I guess that kind of counts as reading. But
yeah, it does. It does. There are multiple ways to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, podcasts have been a saving grace for me right now too. Just, you know, as you're saying, in terms of minimizing the screen time a little bit more, but then kind of still grappling with concepts that I care about and learning from others. So that's been nice.
Yeah. So you did do some knitting, because I see you wearing a fantastic new top. So let's get into that.
I guess we can talk about our make-alongs at the end as the spirit moves us, because our knits are related to it. So you all have seen this top before. It's my Rizzo by Amy Appel, also known as Poison Girls, and it's knit with Malabrigo sock in the color Teal Feather. So it is done. As I've mentioned before, it has this beautiful neckline, which is seed stitch and then some eyelets creating a V. And then, let's see, I'm a little close to the camera.
Oh, it came out perfect. The fit is perfect.
Okay, can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
I can't step back, actually.
Yeah, that's better because then we can see the whole thing.
Okay, so the length is good. I went way longer than the pattern calls for. So it has some waist shaping, and I did that, but then I kept going. So when it's not on, it looks longer than it is, but the fit and length is perfect. And as I may have mentioned here, and I think I mentioned to you, Heather, I wanted it to be optional in terms of wearing casually or even wearing to work. And with a lot of meetings and just classes being online, you know, I thought it would be a good idea to have just things that I've made by hand to wear to those events. So this is one of them. I think it's flexible. I might, you know, wear a tank or something for work, but I love it. It came out perfectly. Yeah. Oh, we also had talked about this because we were like, you know what? I said I should just keep going because it's more likely that I'll actually wear it if I make it a longer length. So it's good. I'm trying to think. I had to redo the hem the first time around because it was a struggle to get in and out of it. I think in the directions, they gave 2 options for how to do it. And then the neckline and the sleeve bind off were the same. And then I ended up going back and doing the same for the hem. And that was Elizabeth Zimmerman's
sewn bind off, right?
Bind off. Yeah. Elizabeth, and it gives it a little bit more stretch to pull on and off. So I'm so glad I did that as well.
Yeah. You could totally wear that to work. And I think it's one of those, I mean, people have mixed feelings about this, but I always love it when somebody thinks something I knit was actually store-bought because it shows that the craftsmanship was really high quality. Yeah. And I feel like that's one where people would probably ask you like where you got it, right?
You think so? I think so because it looks pretty professional.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like unique and you can't get it at any store, and that's what makes it fantastic, right?
Exactly. And that's what I'm starting to appreciate more and more about knitting or making in general. I know I've spoken about wanting to sew, but just this idea that it can be more sustainable and you get to put your touches to it, your colors, your yarn, etc. And a lot of the people, unless you make it, can't get it.
Right. Yeah, so that's so great. Well, now I want to make that top too.
You should. It was fun. I mean, you know, you remember when I first started this, which may have been around this time last year, and then I put it down and thought I wasn't going to make it. Because you're doing multiple things at a time at different points. You do the left and the front shoulders separately, then those come together, and then the front and back come together, and then you start in the round, but then there's like short row shaping and seed stitch and eyelets all at the same time. But when I came back to it, I got it. So apparently I have grown as a knitter.
Yeah, there you go. It's a beautiful top and it's a reminder of your growth too. And when you got to the end, there was like barely any finishing, right? Because all you had to do was do the bind off and then you were done.
Yeah.
All the fiddly parts at the beginning.
Stockinette in the round for a long time, which there were points when I was like, I'm done with this. Yeah. But you'll see why in a minute. I had a lot of stockinette going on.
Okay.
So tell us about your top though, because I'm loving it. And before you say anything, I want to make it.
Yeah, so I'm loving it too. So this is the Mermaid Crop by Rebecca McKenzie. And I knit it with Juniper Moon Farm Neve. And this this color is called Limelight. I think it's more of a yellow, but it's called Limelight. And then I don't know what the pink is called, something pink. So it's 100% cotton yarn. It's the same yarn that I made my peplum top that I was wearing, I think, on our previous episode. But anyway, I'll stand up and show it to you. I'm very happy with it also.
Yeah.
So this is the Mermaid crop, and she has another version of this that's longer, that basically, this kind of starts from like the waist shaping and then you increase a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's longer just has like, well, it starts from the bottom, but it's like wider for your hips, and then it decreases and increases again. So anyway, yeah, I really like it. I'm happy with the length. I made it like 2-3 inches longer than the pattern called for, but that's good because it comes like right to the top of my pants. So
yeah, perfect.
And the pattern picture, the pattern photo actually just shows it in one color, but I saw somebody else who had made it had done a second color. So I basically just knit the pink up to where the armholes split and then started with the gold. So I'm very happy. I was a little skeptical about the colors at first, and in fact I had texted Wanda with like another option and should I stick with this, but in the end I'm very glad because I don't really wear pink. It's not that good of a color on me, but this way I was able to use this pink yarn I originally had bought for a baby blanket and then decided I didn't want to make the baby blanket, so now I have a way to use it, and then the color that's more flattering to me can be by my face.
It works out perfectly, that color combination. I was trying to remember the other color you were considering. You were
turquoise. It was too bright. That was the problem with the other color.
And so it's knit from the bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
And does the pattern require cotton yarn?
No, the pattern is actually designed with acrylic yarn.
What's the weight again? Because I feel like we talked about it and I was starting to consider yarns I could use.
It's DK. And for my size, it took about, so I'm pretty sure that this was 100 gram skeins, and it took about a skein and a half of the pink for my size. And then I had like 85 grams of this yellow left because I had used a tiny bit of it in a different project. And this was what I had left at the end.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So like three skeins of DK would get you.
Yeah. Because it's DK and it's a summer top, it's probably better to use like cotton, linen, something like that.
I would think so. Yeah. I think it's a great use for cotton because it's shorter, it's not too heavy. Mm-hmm. And I just really cannot say enough about the pattern either. The pattern was really great to follow, and I just feel like it really finishes well. So there's like, this is garter stitch here, and then the collar is also garter stitch, but it's just like 2 rounds and then you bind off. But it just, I don't know, I feel like the finishes and the shoulders of 3 needle bind off, it just really looks like clean and well finished, even though it wasn't a lot of work. So,
and it probably knits up relatively quickly with the DK, huh?
Yeah, I think it only took me like a week or so. It probably took me almost as long to dry when I washed it and blocked it as it did to knit it in the first place. So, yeah.
Every time I'm reminded that I need to be exploring knitting this. I think because I didn't have yarn I could just pull out and use. But
yeah. So anyway, well, you have at least one other FO, right?
I have another FO. So
okay, let's see it.
Travel back and forth.
Sure.
Okay, so this is not for our summer. But this is the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. Mm-hmm. It's by Ysolda Teague. I love this pattern because there are a lot of size options included in the way the pattern is written, and you check your gauge once you start knitting. You can use various weight yarn from what's below fingering, from lace.
Okay.
DK, and then change your needles and just check the charts that give you the gauge, and then it tells you the length and everything. So based on the description, this pattern is based on a World War II type of hat scarf combo. Do I dare want to undo this? So you can do it with the brim down or folded, and it's a
Ta-da!
so it's a tube, which means when I said I did a lot of stockinette,
Yeah.
that was a lot of stockinette. And when I first started the hat, I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And I didn't fully realize what I was getting myself into, that this wasn't going to be one of those quick knit hats. I made it for my partner, gave it to him for his anniversary. He wears a lot of beanies like this, and it ended up being perfect. I just think that his store-bought beanies might be like acrylic or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is a little heavier. Like you can feel the difference with the hats. Let me think. So it starts with, there are different options for casting on. I think I wrote it down. It's the disappearing loop
Mm-hmm.
cast on. So that was something new. And then you increase, and then you knit the length that the pattern says for your gauge, and then you do decreases at the end. I use a new yarn. The company started in 2019. They're called Hudson and West Co. And this is their weld fingering weight yarn. I think I use a size US 3 needle, and I bought it from Verb. I ordered it from Verb for Keeping Warm, which is one of our local yarn shops. And they have really beautiful colors.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like sustainably sourced, sourced in the US, and spun here as well. So
I've been wanting to try some of that. That's the company that has that design of that like orange or rust colored sweater. Hang on, let me pull it up.
about, I know
I'll pull it up.
And this color is Juniper, just in terms of the colorway. But
has he worn it yet?
The day I gave it to him, these colors are clashing, but yeah.
It looks good. And it looks like it would be comfortable, warm, really like versatile.
Yep. I kind of want one, but I don't really want to make another one just yet.
Shoot, I can't find that sweater, but anyway, I'll try to find it and show it next time because it's beautiful.
Oh, and so this is how much I had left. So they come in 50 grams. And so I use two of them. Well,
2 of them, okay.
What was left from the second one.
Awesome. All right, I just need to give up. I'm not going to find it. Okay. So, and you liked knitting with the yarn too? I remember that was the other question that I had.
I need to do it again. So, I don't know a ton about yarn. I think this one is merino and cordell.
Mm-hmm. Let's
see. I have the tag. Yeah, 70% merino, 30% cordell. It seemed like it was a little splitty in some places or unevenly spun.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like some sections were a little bit thicker, some sections a bit thinner. So I don't know what that means or the deal with that. But, it's pretty
character.
Finished fabric, so yeah.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, and it looks like it has a little bit of like a heathery quality to it.
It does. Yeah. It does.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice picking up on that. It does.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I did this week is I went to the San Francisco Botanical Garden, and I had to take my picture by the heather plants.
Ah,
yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Speaking of heather.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure you have tons of other things going on.
I do. I have quite a few things. So I've been working through my oldest whips. So this is actually not an FO, but I'll show it because it's chronological order. So my next oldest whip that was not done was my Audrey and Unst. And I did actually finish this with the exception of putting on the buttons. And I blocked it, and as I thought, the body grew to fit me, but the sleeves are still a little bit too tight. They go on, but they're just like not that comfortable. So I realized that the problem was that I had knit the body flat and then knit the sleeves in the round, which is what the pattern called for, but I probably should have gone up a needle size for the sleeves. Yeah. So instead, I was scared to go up a needle size. So instead what I did is I ripped the sleeve back to the sleeve cap, and now I'm knitting the sleeve flat, and then I will just seam it because I know the gauge will be the same for the flat for the sleeve as it was for the body.
Wait, you've done that already?
So one of the sleeves I ripped out and re-knit it flat.
Oh, so you've done that already?
Yeah, but this sleeve is still the old sleeve that doesn't fit.
Got it.
So this was finished, and then it's now not finished anymore because I had to start again. So hopefully this will be finished next time we record.
Oh, the days of knitting.
Yeah. And I need to finish it because I need the needles to start my mom's sweater.
Yeah.
I refuse to buy new needles because I just need to use what I have.
I mean, you have plenty, so yeah.
So my next oldest whip was this little baby sweater, which is called the French Macaroon sweater. So this is the front, and then the back has a little button on it so that you can get Junior in and out of it. But anyway, I had started this, I don't know, a couple years ago because I was knitting it. I normally knit continental, so I hold the yarn in my left hand. And a few years ago, I was having some problems with my left wrist, so I was knitting. I started this project because it's all garter, and I could knit it with the yarn in my right hand because I'm not as good at that. I can really only do garter stitch. So anyway, I finally just pulled it out and finished it, even though I didn't really need to. But yeah, so it's cute. It'll go in the gift box and some baby.
How much of it was done already?
So it's knit in two more close to identical pieces, the front and the back, and then seamed. And so the front was done about to here. So you knit this part of it, and then you cast on. So it's all knit, and the front is all one piece and the back is all one piece. So the front was done about halfway up the sleeve. So I finished that, and then I did the back.
Got it. So that's a significant amount.
Yeah. So it's Berroco, some kind of Berroco acrylic yarn in DK. I forget exactly what. Berroco vintage DK maybe, which is an acrylic. It's good for baby knits and stuff. So yeah.
Nice. And so is that just going to be a part of your baby knit stash for, when there's someone ready for you to gift it to them? Yeah.
Exactly. People are always having babies. I did find, though, this one I know I can, here's the sweater I was looking for earlier. This is the sweater I was talking about.
Yeah, I remember that one. That color is gorgeous, yeah.
Glenwood by Cheryl Toy, but it was a pattern for that company. So I also found another baby knit I want to make by a designer called Nomad Stitches, a crochet designer, and it should be at the very end of my queue. This like rainbow romper.
That is super cute.
So I need to gather some scraps and get that going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen Nomad Stitches, some of their patterns before, and I've really liked them. And it makes me think, need to start crocheting.
She has a podcast too. I think she just started it a few months ago. She only has a few episodes, but yeah.
Check that out.
So the next thing I finished were these rainbow socks. This is Knitpicks Felici. I think the color is just called rainbow, and some white Cascade yarn for the heels, toes, and cuffs. So
I remember those.
Yeah.
I like the color combination.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you know, I love Felici, the self-striping.
Yep.
Just beautiful. So excited to wear these now that we've recorded and I've shown them. And I also brought, because I was thinking when I finished these, because I've used this yarn before and I thought, wow, that yarn seems a lot brighter than I remember it. But it's because I used it before in this colorwork
Interesting.
rainbow fish sock. And of course these have been washed several times too, so the colors might have faded a little bit, but I thought it was interesting how different it looks against the white than against the gray.
It's so crazy how
Yeah.
different life it can take on depending on the combination and the pattern.
Yeah, and the pattern, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting, so I thought people might enjoy seeing that. But yeah. And this is a really great pattern too. This pattern is by, I think it's by Spilly Jane. She has a lot of sock and mitten color work patterns, so yeah.
Another one to check out.
And then the last two things I have are more socks. So this is another one of my older whips, and I had actually been knitting a mystery colorwork sock pattern by Coop Knits, Rachel Coopy, that had come out last summer. And I wasn't that in love with it. I just wasn't in love with like how the color work was working up in the colors I had. But then she posted on Instagram this last week or so, she's been posting, not really a mystery, but like every day she's been posting like a new part of a scrappy sock you can knit. So I pulled out the old mystery knit from last summer and did the Instagram knit along with her. So this is an Instagram knit along by Rachel Coopy. She's Coop Knits on Instagram, so you can find it there. So I finished those. They're done. So I did exactly what she did up to this point. And then Wanda actually helped me out because you and I were knitting, Zoom knitting about a week ago, and I had just gotten to this point, and the pattern actually, I think maybe I was ahead of her, and so that she hadn't said what to do next, but I wanted to finish it. So I decided to do this color work on the toe. As it turns out, she had horizontal stripes on the toe is what she ended up doing. So, but Wanda helped me figure out how to do these colors. So.
I love them. I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
That worked out so well.
So yeah, I'm super psyched about these. I just love all these colors. They're just different scraps. The blue and the orange are different silk yarn, silk merino and silk blends that I had, and then the gray is just some random Lorna's laces. But because I was using scraps, I had enough left, and a friend of mine commented on Instagram that she really liked those, so I made another pair for her.
Oh my goodness. Are you done with both pairs?
So yeah, these I actually just finished the toes this morning. So basically what Rachel Coopy did is, this was the first sock, and then this week she's been posting the directions for a second sock, which is different. So I just made two of each. So these I bound off the toes today.
Yeah.
But this one, the ends are not woven in on this one yet.
Got it. Oh, those are so cool. Yeah. Lucky friends.
So I would have just given her the other ones, but she has very small feet and those other ones would have been way too big for her. So I said, well, got to use up the rest of this yarn. So now. Yeah.
These, did you kind of go off on your own as well, or did you follow Rachel Coopy's full design on this pair? Because those are different.
Yeah, so I followed her full design for the second sock, again, all the way up to the toe. And then I forget what she had on the toe, but I didn't have enough of the yarn to do that. So I just did a stripe and then a different toe.
Very nice. I like those.
Yeah. So it's really cool, and it makes me think, like, I mean, obviously Rachel Coopy is a genius. She has like multiple books of socks and sock patterns published everywhere. But so much of this is just like combining different textures, right?
Yep.
it's like good to remember that that's something you can do.
Well, you can be a sock designer
Yeah.
if you wanted to. We can collaborate on them.
I'll leave that to the professionals.
Hey, you're an amateur until you're a professional. So,
I guess.
but not everyone's desire and passion to do it. So,
Right. Yeah. I don't like ripping out enough to be a designer, I think.
yeah, I guess that's the issue. It requires a certain type of patience.
Yeah. I mean, even these, just figuring out how to do this color work on the toe. I mean, how many times did I rip that out just while we were talking? Probably like 2 or 3 times, right?
Then you whipped it back up so quickly. So.
What else have you been working on?
I have one whip, and I wish I'd been working on it a lot more frequently than I am, but it is what it is. So I think I've mentioned a desire to knit this before. It's the Lydia crop top,
Mm-hmm.
and it's by Ivy and Autumn, and so it's another top that I'm making for our, what is it called again? Summer Ready.
Summer Ready. Uh-huh.
And I'm using, remember, I'm looking for patterns that allow me to use up that Sugar Plum Circus yarn. So this is Sugar Plum Circus Sport, Merino Sport. It's 100% merino. And so this is the other color that I had. It's called, I have the tag with me somewhere. It's called Flirt.
Okay.
So this is what the color looks like. Because remember, I initially had bought this yarn to go with the pumpkin spice that I used in the framework bralette, and then I have another color. Maybe I'll find something to make out of that. But can you see this?
Yeah. Oh, that texture is beautiful.
It's gorgeous. So it just kept calling me, and so finally I was like, I'll make it. It's knit from the bottom up. I'm a bit over halfway through the lace chart, so, and it feels like the hard part is over. But I've learned a lot of new stitches in this pattern. First of all, it starts with a provisional tubular cast on. So there's that. And then I just did, you probably can't see it, it's hard, something called a 3-wrap knot.
Oh, I've never heard of that before.
And so the cool thing too, I have the pattern, is that it's the lace part is based on a hitomi shira, Japanese lace pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So this bottom lace is actually a Japanese lace pattern, inspired, modified, etc. So yeah, it's extremely enjoyable.
So where's the 3-wrap knot? What does the 3-wrap knot look like?
Let's see if I can point it out. There's also the glare.
Yeah.
So there's one right here.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally see it.
You see?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yep. So lots of cool stitches. It's interesting, but like and each line, there's some similarities and some differences, but it's super enjoyable lace work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can multitask while doing it. I do have to focus, but I can multitask while working on it, or sometimes I just sit and work on it alone without doing anything else. But I'm enjoying it. This was their second version. I think maybe the initial version of it, there were some issues, or she got feedback from testers. So I noticed that this one is called the Lydia 2.0.
Okay.
And there's an option to knit it seamless or seamed. So I'm doing it seamless in the round. I'm using US 5s, my new Chiago.
Oh, that's right.
What do you call it again?
Interchangeables?
Interchangeable. So I finally gave in because I started this on like 32-inch cords, and then I was like, I need something shorter. And then I said to myself, how many times am I going to go through this when I need a different size needle?
Mm-hmm.
And so finally I was like, just invest in the interchangeables because it's adding up at this point anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are pretty cool. And
yeah, you're liking them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good. And I like those Chiago metal needles a lot. So I'm excited about this top. It feels like another one that I'll probably get some good wear out of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you knit lace before, or is this your first lace project?
I had started a lace project. Which one was it? Mount Pleasant. It has the
right. Uh-huh.
But I thought it was too small, so I pulled it out. So this is the first one I think I'm following through on. And it's so crazy. It looks more intimidating on paper than it is in practice. But
yeah.
the probably right now in terms of where I am with my knitting skills to be able to tackle that lace. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I'm almost through the lace, so.
Nice. That's gonna be great. And you're gonna, because it's just a tank top, right? So you should be able to have it done. I mean, summer here lasts until like October, so you'll definitely get some good wear out of that.
So exactly. So that's the thing. Our summer ready make along.
Yes.
We need to figure this out because for us in the Bay Area, it's warm through October and sometimes even up until November, and can be even warmer than it is now in September and October. But that's not fair to other people. So we're thinking about ending, and maybe it might just be this round, who knows, but ending the summer ready make along on August 15th. Been getting a lot of folks sharing their finished objects at this point now as well. So those have been a joy to see. There's still more time. We're in early July, so you have about a month and a half left to continue those summer ready knits, hopefully having time to still wear them and layer them. And come on over to Ravelry if that makes sense, or connect with us on Instagram using the Summer Ready Make Along hashtag to share your knits with us. And we want to celebrate people's knitting and accomplishments and just connect this community in that way. So we'll have some prizes. We'll get those together and share them with you on the next episode.
TBD.
Yeah. That did just make me realize, I know there are still those issues going on Ravelry, right? I haven't followed super closely. I've been disconnecting a bit with social media and haven't been on Ravelry as much, but my hope is that they're working things out and sorting things out and listening to the voices and the feedback in the spirit of true radical inclusivity, right? So, and it definitely resonates with me, someone with vision.
Yeah.
As someone with vision issues.
I haven't heard too much about, since I initially heard that there were issues with it, and I did revert back to the old site because the new site, I don't particularly love it graphically, but it's not giving me medical issues. But I feel like I just reverted back to the old site to show that people like the old site better. So hopefully that, but I haven't been using Ravelry too much, so I don't know what is going on. But if that's still unresolved by the time we decide on make along prizes, we can maybe do it via Instagram or some other way.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I reverted too, but I think that'll be enough time to see how they're responding. Because, you know, I think it's an urgent matter, and you want to, if you're really striving for radical inclusivity, then it's something that needs to change.
Yeah, and I hope they fix it because I do love Ravelry, and so much of my history as a maker is on Ravelry. So I would like to be able to keep using it, but I also only want to use it if it's a space for everyone.
Exactly. That's why it feels like such an unfortunate situation.
Yeah. So.
All right.
All right. Well, I have two things I've been working on. No.
I have more.
Yeah, I just have one thing I've been working on. I've been finishing stuff. So speaking of giveaways, probably part of it will be the Among Friends.
Yeah.
But PSA, do not wash it because I used it for groceries one day and then it got like yucky stuff in it, and I washed it and the silk screening or whatever it is partially faded. So I'm sure there was something on the tag that said not to wash it. So that was complete user error. Yeah. But anyway, I was very sad.
Be a part of the giveaway. We do have more of those.
Anyway, I cast on Shifty.
Oh, you're sneaky. Let's have a look here.
So this is the top yoke of Shifty by Andrea Mowry. I'm loving this. So fun to knit. This is the sweater version of all of her different patterns with all the blips. So I'm knitting this out of some Rowan wool cotton that I have had probably close to 15 years. I've had this yarn because I originally bought it to knit a pattern that was in Knitty magazine, I think before Ravelry had even started. So that was 2006, 2005, I don't know. So Rowan wool cotton is the brown, and then I have 3 different colors of Verb for Keeping Warm.
Oh, nice.
I forget what yarn this is, but it's one of their hand-dyed yarns. Yeah, as the colors.
Nice, I like those.
Yeah, so what I decided to do, I actually, because hang on, I'm just grabbing something. The pattern is done in Spin Cycle, which is a yarn that changes colors. That was really unflattering how I just leaned back like that. Whoopsie. Spin Cycle changes colors, right? So because this yarn doesn't change colors, I was trying to figure out like how to do it. So what I ended up doing is just like drawing a diagram of what the yoke was going to look like and then writing in what colors I was going to use where.
Yep.
Because I have less of this pink than I do of the other colors. So I'm going to only use the pink on the yoke, and then after I split for the sleeves, it'll just be the green and the blue.
Got it. Nice.
And let's see, other things. So tubular cast on, you mentioned. I used the tubular cast on method from the Twigs pattern. Because that's the only tubular cast on I've ever done where I like how the edge looks.
Yeah.
So I use that method. And then, yeah, that's about it. Other than that, I'm just knitting the pattern, and it just goes so fast because it's just like slip, slip, knit, knit, slip, slip, knit, knit. So, yeah.
I'm excited. I love all of those, the shift, those big blips and little blips.
Yeah.
You know I'm pulling my Shifty back out now, too.
Yay! I was hoping you would. We can knit along with that. And
yeah, it's been on my radar, so.
And I'm hoping because this yarn is like a wool, I think it's 50-50 wool and cotton.
You're using fingering weight yarn?
It's like more of a sport. The brown is more of a sport. Yeah, it's 50-50 wool and cotton. So it also should be pretty, I mean, we should be able to wear it pretty much year round here.
Yeah. I figured since it's fingering weight, that'll be one that can get some good wear too. Oh, so we're gonna have our own little Shifty along.
Shifty along, yeah. Do you have other plans besides Shifty?
So Shifty, and to continue my Lydia. So now, interestingly, I think I'm on the Clear the Needles kit.
Woo!
I'm trying not to buy. It's actually, I'm clearing the needles and stashing down because I'm using old yarn, trying not to buy new yarn for now, and finishing old projects. So the Shifty, and then I'm probably going to pick the Minaret the minaret backup. I don't know if you all remember that one, and the Lydia 2.0. So, and I want to cast on some socks, probably some stocking, stripy socks. I have a couple of gift knits planned, and so I need to just start those.
Yeah.
We think we have all of this time, and then it sneaks up on us, right?
I know, right? I mean, Christmas is only in 6 months if you're a person who gives gifts for Christmas. You better get on that. I've really been loving socks. First of all, I mean, you saw I had like 3 pairs of finished socks there. And I think partly because it's summer, so they're small and portable. So yeah. So I just wanted to also show you, this is my list of all my whips from 2019 or before. And so I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only have 8 left.
That is such an accomplishment.
Yeah.
I see Alata at the top.
Yeah. I just started it and never went back to it. That shouldn't take me too long to finish. And I did frog while it's in the process of being frogged, the first sweater I was making for my mom, because it just wasn't working out, and I'm making her a different one. So I'm gonna figure out later what to do with that yarn. But so I'm super proud of myself for getting all of that done.
That's huge. Do you know which one you're going to tackle next?
I do. So I brought over 2 things for plans. It's too far back there on my ironing board. So this is my next oldest whip, which is these.
Do you have a pair of those?
No, they've been a whip forever. I made this much of it and then stopped. But go ahead.
They look familiar.
Yeah. So 2 issues with these. One is I really wanted to make them in the colors that were in the book, but I didn't want to buy yarn. So I ended up like cutting up the stripes from this into all these different little, but the challenge is that this little butterfly of yarn is not quite enough for the repeat. So it ends up being like 8 gazillion ends, because you have to do 2 of those little butterflies. So that's, I think, why I had kind of stopped working on it. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the leg with this color work pattern. And then the foot, I'm just going to use the striped yarn and maybe do like a stripe of color and then a stripe of white and a stripe of color and a stripe of white, because it'll just go.
Yeah. I hear you. That would drive me nuts. That takes the joy out of the process.
Yeah, exactly. It gets me the product I want, but it's no. And then the other issue is that I had pulled these out. They had been sitting so long that I found moth eggs in the project bag they were in. So all of this had to go in the freezer and out of the freezer and in the freezer and out of the freezer a couple different times. And now hopefully. Now I think they're safe.
Okay.
Hopefully. And then my other plan is I've been wanting to make, this is the Making magazine. This is issue 3, dots. Which I have made these socks, which I love, 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 and I wear them all the time.
Yeah.
They're in that. You can buy them as a single pattern on Ravelry too. But anyway, I've been wanting to make this, which is the Awa Awa wrap, forever, and it's marled, so you hold the 2 yarns together, and then the little circles, the little dots, are just one of the 2 colors. So Verb for Keeping Warm was having a pre-order a while ago, and so I did order the yarn. Just came right before we started recording. So I got these 2 colors.
Those colors. I have eyed those colors before. Great pick.
So this is Verb for Keeping Warm Annapurna, and this color is Mesa, and this color is Petroglyph.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I love it.
So I've been wanting kind of just like that I mean, more mindless aside from the dots. This pattern's pretty, it's just mostly garter. So that'll be something really nice, especially when I go back to work and have a little less mental energy.
Yeah.
So.
That's an exciting project.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And then keep on finishing my other 8 things. I'm very excited.
You're almost, well, let me not say that. That's like when you still have 6 miles to go in a marathon, or 3 miles even, and they're like, oh, you're almost there. So you're not almost finished, but you've made some wonderful progress.
I have made some good progress. I think the one thing is, one of the things that's left is a big crocheted blanket. So that's going to take quite a while to finish. And then Plumpy that has all those ends to weave into brioche.
Yeah. That's
so I'm definitely going to slow down.
Yeah. That's what I initially was going to make with that Sugar Plum Circus yarn.
Yeah. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. All right. So, like we mentioned before, continue sharing your summer ready make along projects with us. You can use the hashtag on Instagram or post in the group on Ravelry. And then we're also clearing the needles 2020. I feel like we haven't spoken about that in a while, and just feel free to check in with us. We've been appreciating the new subscribers. Subscribe if you've been watching us but haven't had a chance to yet. Leave us some comments. We really appreciate it. So until next time.
Until next time, we'll see you later.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.